Breaking news into HQ. The NFL and National Football League Players Association have adopted new CDC guidelines for quarantine time of positive players. Our Jonathan Jones confirms the quarantine time is now 5 days for an asymptomatic player that has tested positive rather than the 10 days previously required. These new rules apply to both vaccinated and unvaccinated players. Let's bring in our NFL insider, Jonathan Jones. And Jonathan, I can think of a team and quarterback this has a direct impact on in the National Football League. But what does this mean for teams league-wide?
Well, and let's sort of use the Indianapolis Colts and Carson Wentz as sort of the example here for everyone. And that is that Carson Wentz, an unvaccinated quarterback who tested positive today on Tuesday. It's unclear when his sample was collected, but if you go based off of history, you could assume it was collected on Monday. So the clock starts from when the sample was collected, and you now have 5 days where if you do not have symptoms, you can then return to play, and you don't have to test out of any protocol. That's done away with. We don't have to worry about that anymore. We also don't have to concern ourselves as it relates to return to play with whether a player is vaccinated or not. And nearly or just more than 94% of all NFL players are vaccinated. Carson Wentz is not one of them. So, Jim, the question then becomes, can Carson Wentz play against the Vegas Raiders on Sunday in the big AFC matchup that could help decide playoff seeding? The answer is we still don't know. And we are still waiting to find out. When was that sample collected? If it were collected on Tuesday morning, it may still be a no. And then also, he has to be asymptomatic. Now, the interesting part there is because he will not be in the building and any player who is COVID positive for those 5 days would not be in their respective team facilities, they have to honestly report their symptoms and, of course, if they have any. So that's where we stand right now, where basically if you tested positive on Monday or Tuesday of this week in the NFL, it is more than likely, if you are asymptomatic, you can play in Sunday's games.
Yeah, Jonathan, but that does give the Colts a chance to possibly have their quarterback back thanks to these new guidelines. The thing I was thinking of with regards to this right off the bat is as we get to playoff time and as there are huge games in the postseason, a vital player, tests positive the week of the game. How much relief does this give a team that they can have that vital player or players back in time for kickoff?
Yeah, it's huge. And frankly, a number of teams don't at all be surprised to not see any testing take place at NFL team facilities if they don't have to on a Thursday or Friday of that week. I think that most NFL teams are probably going to test their guys on a Monday. Whoever comes back positive, so be it. Hopefully they are asymptomatic, and if they are, according to these new guidelines, they would then be able to play in that upcoming game. So I think that that's really the rhythm and cadence that we should be anticipating. I would be very stunned, Jim, if there's an NFL team that is voluntarily testing players who have no symptoms late in the week before one of their final 2 games, or certainly before a playoff game.
Again, the quarantine time for NFL players down from 10 to 5 days for asymptomatic players. He's HQ NFL insider Jonathan Jones. Jonathan, we appreciate the insight.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.